people are fired up about this. You know, as we've traveled around the district, I was in Peru today, I probably met with 200 people, and not a single person said, John, how much money have you raised? It's, you know, obviously with Veterans Day, they were asking me about Veterans Affairs and those type of things. I was in Huntington last week, and we were talking about agriculture issues. Not a single person came up and said, John, who's endorsed you and how much money you raised? I think what we need to do is focus on the issues. I think we need to get all the candidates at a forum just like this, and let's talk issues.
All right, so you're going to give it another shot.
Yep, we're going again.
You did a great job last election. That was what, only 1 year ago?
Yeah, just a year and a half ago. We got 45% of the vote just a year and a half ago, and we're really running for the same reasons. You know, why are we in the mess that we're in right now is because Republicans lost their way. You know, we say that we're the party of less government, yet we had a $1 trillion budget surplus and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar deficit. The same with, we said we were going to be a party of integrity, and yet we're sending congressmen to jail, 3 congressmen. So from 2001 to 2007.
Don't forget compassionate conservatism.
And compassionate conservatism didn't help, but we really lost our way. And at the same time, we had a congressman who failed to show up for work. And that's when I decided to run the last time. I have a history in public service and said, enough is enough. We need to re-elect conservatives. I mean, why is it in America right now that 40% of Americans call themselves conservative, yet only 25% are Republican? How do we lose that 15%? It's because we lost our way.
That was the primary where it was very difficult to choose a ballot for people, including myself. I couldn't decide, did I want to go vote the Hillary Obama primary ticket, or did I want to vote and get Dan Burton out of that district?
There's a lot of confusion. Many people struggle with that. If you take a look at our race, we were running up against a guy who's been in office for 28 years. He outspent us 5-1. He had $2 million, we had $400,000. More than 11,000 Republicans crossed over who had historically voted Republican, 04, 06, and 08, they were just like you, torn. What do I do? And many of them went and jumped into that race. We beat him here in Indianapolis. 59% of the voters voted for us, and that's almost a quarter of the ballot. Hamilton County, a third of the ballot. We beat him 53% up there. Where we didn't do well was up in the farther northern tier where I wasn't as well known. So what we're doing now is we're really focusing up in the Wabashes, Huntingtons, Kokomos, the places where I didn't do as well. All things being equal, this next cycle, I think he's very beatable, and I think the work that we did the last time is going to bode well for us.
One of the things that sets you apart is you're the only medical doctor running, and this, of course, is a time where the healthcare debate is raging. Can you talk about your position on healthcare, and if you could write the plan,
sure.
What would it be?
As an emergency physician, we sit on the front lines of healthcare right now. Those 25 or 40 million Americans, depending on what you look at, they're getting their healthcare in my emergency department. 25% of my volume is Medicaid, 25% is Medicare. So already 50% of the payers, I'm seeing what a government program looks like, and it doesn't work well. It's very interesting. They say that they're going to spend another $1 trillion, the most recent House bill that just came up, yet we're going to save over $160 billion. How's the math in that? Where is there any logic? I like to draw a big triangle: cost, access, and quality. And you're going to have to affect one to affect the other. You're going to add 47 million people on this. It's going to either cost more or quality is going to go down. There's no other way around it. So we really need to stop where we are and take a breather and look at the House and the Senate bills. They will not work. And I think blow up healthcare altogether. The way I would envision it is that we treat healthcare much like you do with automobile insurance for catastrophic coverage. Back in the day, you used to have major medical, and that meant for those things, God forbid you get hit by a bus, you get cancer, those type of things. But for the routine appointments, you go to see your doctor, you reach into your pocket and you pay up front. That relationship is gone. There's now an insurance company or a government payer between the patient and the doctor. And once that relationship was breached some 30 or 40 years ago, it's been very, very difficult.
You have a 13-year-old daughter, and of course 13-year-olds just in general are interesting. You can learn a lot from them. What is one of the most valuable lessons you've learned from your 13-year-old daughter?
Humility, I think, more than anything. It's just great to have a 13-year-old daughter, and from the moment she was born, it teaches you about humility and the gift of life. I had an opportunity to speak at North Central, and they wanted me to talk about respect. And so I did research and look back at the history of philosophy on respect and everything. It just talked about how important the gift of life is. And when you have, as you know, having young children in your arms and see them grow now to a beautiful 13-year-old girl, it teaches you humility. I think two things. If you're unhappy with the situation, and certainly you're unhappy with Republican leadership over the last few years, then you want a new candidate. And now you have a choice of 3 or 4 candidates. Who's the most qualified to start on day one? The way I look at it, Congressman, it's really 3 people in one. Somebody with international background, somebody with a national background, and somebody with a local background. I'm the only candidate in this who has 28 years in the National Guard. I'm currently assigned to headquarters Europe. I go over there quarterly and deal with those folks. I've been to North Korea on the border. I've been extensively around the Middle East. I've worked with the Slovak Republic through our relationship. At a national standpoint, the 2 most important things right now are healthcare, which nobody else as a healthcare provider are intimately involved in it, and the economy. Most people don't realize physicians are small business owners. We have 26 doctors and 10 employees. We have to make payroll. We have to provide health insurance, pension, those type of things. And we are working harder and making less, just like all Americans. And then lastly is that piece, that constituent service piece. When I was the coroner here in Marion County, we took care of 2,000 families at their worst time for the 8 years that I was here. So over 16,000 families that we took care of. What does a congressman do? Certainly constituent service, passports, post office, Social Security, those type of things. What I was able to do as a coroner very successfully for 8 years, I think I could do also as a congressman. So of the 3 candidates, what I recommend to people is look at their bios and find out who you think is ready to start on day one.